Why does everything feel like a luxury now? And I don't even mean buying a house. I mean like getting your hair cut without freaking out about the cost, or buying new clothes because all of yours are worn out, having your own place, or even having a little bit of savings. Like those all used to seem like things that were just part of normal adult life, and now it feels like something you have to reward yourself with.
This economy is strange because you could save all your money for a week and spend all of that money that you saved for a week in one day, and you try and get ahead, right? Like every time you save some money, it's like an emergency or something. So it makes for a weird economy for a couple reasons, because we're already living at a undesirable wage. Even the people with bachelor's degrees, even the people with master degrees, you're living at an undesirable wage, and the gas prices keep going up, the rent prices going up, the mortgage prices, the income tax property, and it's hard to keep up with your cost of living, let alone save any money. Honestly, I don't see how parents do it. I don't have any kids personally, but if I did, I don't see how I'd be able to budget even with 2 or 3 jobs in this economy. I guess they get government assistance, I'm not sure, because like I said, I'm not a parent. But yeah, this economy has to be one of the most wicked economies of all time. And it's not even like we're doing worse as a society. That's the most insane part about this economy. Everybody talking about tech and AI. And honestly, some people aren't even losing. But the majority of people are losing. And that's the reality of the American economy. If you agree with this message, make sure you like, share, repost. If you don't, leave a comment and let me know why. Peace.
Hey YouTube, everywhere you look, people are saying they finally saved up some money only for one random expense to wipe it all out like it never existed. So today, we're going to be looking at a bunch of different clips talking about why money feels tighter than ever, while also breaking down why it's causing so many people to feel stuck. At the center of all this is one simple problem. It isn't that people suddenly forgot how to manage money, it's that saving feels harder to maintain when normal life keeps getting more expensive.
It's no way around not living check to check. We all live in check to check at this fucking point. Because you want to live in a good neighborhood, right? You don't want to live in the hood. Bills and shit, all this shit is not doing nothing but going up. The average fucking apartment, 1 bedroom is like $1,600, especially if you living on your own.
And the only people that can't comprehend this are people that don't have real bills. This economy is crazy as hell. And man, don't let something happen to that car. That'll be the shit that'll push you over the edge. And like, this is literally the reason why I don't have that 50-50 provider, whatever argument, because you have to be a damn fool to not understand why having 2 incomes is a lot better than having just one. Like, having one person just paying the bills while another person is doing nothing, that's a disaster waiting to happen. Like, both of y'all can have a job. That person can pay whatever bills, you can pay the small bills, it don't matter. That person can pay all the bills and you could be in charge of saving. But in this economy, man, you need teamwork.
The uber rich will tell you stuff like, oh, money isn't everything, money doesn't make you happy, but could never imagine living a life without money. They tell you that money doesn't mean everything, but could never imagine giving up all their wealth to someone who is less fortunate. They could never imagine that. The thing is, in some ways, they're right. Money will never make you happy. And a lot of times with them, they do anything for money, which causes their misery. When you really get to the super top, you realize how fake everything is. All of this money talk is fake. It's made up. And that's why they say stuff like money isn't everything, because for them, money isn't real. It's made up. They just make a bunch of numbers, decide how things go, and then see their accounts triple. Also, they're not struggling or fighting for survival. So once you reach a certain level of wealth, you no longer think about stuff like, oh, can I pay my bill on time? Also, during all these times of economic downtime is when people get rich. They literally do this on purpose. They crash the markets, they destroy everything. They know that they're borrowing at high rates. They know what they're doing is going to cause a bubble, and they do it anyway. Because their philosophy is that money isn't real anyway, so why not just do anything?
Hold on, what bills do y'all have due on the first of the month? Because when I think about it, I don't have no bills outside of rent due on the first. I'm really trying to figure it out. The bills is due all throughout the rest of the month. Car insurance, phone, all that. That hit me at the end of the month. So I don't even have time to be mentally in my right mind by the time the first roll around. They meant back in the day by the first of the month bills. Damn time, these ain't no first of the month bills. It's more like daily. You done earned yourself a daily pass to bills. Something getting auto-drafted every day. Then ain't that something how we gotta be so sneaky? We done came up with these ideas that, okay, you know what, I'm gonna put this car down. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lock that car. So they gonna think they getting the money, but it's gonna reject every time they try to get it. Oh, and then this car right here, what I'm gonna do is, see, I know I don't got no money in that account. So I'm just gonna let them auto draft. You know, they think they gonna get some money, but it's really gonna be an overdraft. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, then I'm shooting my own self in the foot. Cause then when I look at my account, I'm gonna owe the bank cause the overdraft fees, cause they charge you for not having no money cause it needs to be broke. What a time to be alive.
A lot of people grow up hearing that if you save consistently, everything will eventually work out. That advice still has value, but it still feels much harder to believe because one unexpected expense can erase months of progress. Someone finally gets a few $1,000s saved up, then their car breaks down, their insurance goes up, their rent increases, maybe they have a medical bill they weren't expecting. Suddenly, the account they spent months building is back to where it started. That cycle can be incredibly discouraging because it makes progress feel temporary instead of permanent. You start wondering whether you're actually moving forward or just preparing for the next thing that's going to cost you money. Saving almost starts feeling like a reset button over and over again. None of these expenses are exciting purchases either. They're just normal parts of life that almost everyone has to eventually deal with. Even people who budget well can run into situations they simply can't predict. That's why so many people say building savings feels so much slower than they expected. The goal isn't getting rich overnight anymore. For a lot of people, it's just hoping the next surprise doesn't erase everything they worked for.
Your pay stubs. Take a look at your pay stubs. I know you don't want to, but look at them. I think as a collective, if we all paid attention to truly just how much money is getting taken out of our paychecks, we would be a lot more angry than we are right now. I am a travel nurse and therefore I stock my pay stubs because over the course of the years, I have found that agencies and hospitals make many mistakes when it comes to my hourly pay, especially if you're hourly. Be checking your pay stubs. And right now, I get paid bi-weekly in the state of Colorado. I am paying $700 plus bi-weekly in just federal taxes. That's not including state taxes. That's not including Social Security. That's not including Medicare and Medicaid. And that is not including the Colorado Family Leave Act. That is just federal taxes. $1,400 plus a month to the federal government. And for what? What am I seeing? How am I reaping the benefits of that? Not to mention paying the absurd sales tax in the state of Colorado, paying property taxes and excise taxes, taxes on your ass, taxes on your nose, taxes on your mother, like everywhere you turn. We pay taxes on absolutely everything we touch and everything we do. Like, why am I paying taxes for my RV spot? Why am I paying a sales tax on my RV spot? Like, everywhere you turn, you are paying a tax. $1,400 plus a month in just federal taxes. Just. And where is it going? Where's it going? Because our military's over there running out of food to fight this fake war. They're not going to be able to sustain this war financially. Yet our DoD budget is $1 trillion. And it was just proposed to be bumped up to $1.5 trillion. I'm paying back my student loans to a department that doesn't exist anymore. I'm paying Colorado state taxes so that I can damn near flatten a tire and get my windshield cracked every single time I head on the highway. I used to think the money was going to the DoD, and now I think it's just going straight into their pockets. And no, this did not just start with this administration, by the way. So before we say that, this is not just like a year and a half old problem. It's not. It's been happening for a long time now, right under our noses. And obviously, yeah, they're worse. And there are many things going wrong right now. And I'm sure a lot more theft is occurring in the biggest pyramid scheme the world has ever seen. But it's nothing new. We are going to be the story of a failed society that got robbed and then collapsed.
We're here again. I'm a licensed therapist of 22 years, and things in the US couldn't possibly be worse. Let me give you an example, okay? So today I happened to be sitting in my own waiting room. I own a group practice, and there were probably 8 to 9 people sitting in the waiting room waiting for their appointments. And one person happened to start a conversation, which almost never happens in the waiting room. Most people just sit there kind of silently waiting for their clinician. But this person started off a conversation, and it sparked this whole thing about how depressed and anxious and broke everyone is. And that therapy, while great and helpful and wonderful, is barely scratching the surface. I could relate to everything that everybody was saying in my waiting room. Everything is bad. And I'm not exaggerating. This is not hyperbolic. Our healthcare, our taxes, our grocery prices, gas costs are unaffordable. We cannot afford to live in this country unless you're in the top percent. The average person in the US cannot afford to exist. I'm not totally sure how we dig out of this hole. All I know is that we sounded the alarm bells. We are here in spite of that. And it is awful. It's awful.
I got a letter recently that my property taxes are going to go up $600 a year from now on. I got a letter that my homeowner's insurance is going up $60 a month. My propane company sent me a letter that my propane is going to double this year. They just came and filled up my tank. It was $1,000. That's crazy. Also, as a entrepreneur and business owner, I get my health insurance through the marketplace. So you have the Affordable Care Act. I pay $45 a month. They just informed me that if this bill passes and I lose my tax credit, I'm going to go from $45 a month to $660 a month for health insurance. I need to buy a new car and I can't because the cars have gotten more expensive and the interest rates have gotten so much more expensive. I can't find a reliable car that has the same monthly payment of $450 a month that I've been paying now for a new car. Not necessarily new, but new to me. Groceries are insane, and it feels like every day I get a new email from another subscription that I have, whether it's Netflix, my website subscription, everything's increasing in price. And I sit pretty much every day stressed about money, and yet I know that there are so many people in this country that are way worse off than me, and they're not making it, y'all. They're not making it. What hurts me the most is that there are so many women, especially, that just cannot afford to leave abusive homes and they have to stay in it because of this economy. So are we great again, America? Like, is this what you voted for? Meanwhile, they all sit there in DC, not feeling any of these pressures, not doing anything about it, not giving a shit about the American people. I have been extremely poor and I have been extremely wealthy. And I know from firsthand experience that the wealthy people don't notice it. And most people are pretty self-absorbed and aren't thinking about other people anyway. So we got to talk about this more. We got to raise hell. We have to let DC know that this is not acceptable. Regardless of your party, we have got to help each other.
As an American, there are some things that you can truly never fully understand until you leave the United States. I moved out of the United States 2.5 years ago, and since then, there have been moments where certain things happen that completely and utterly break everything that I've ever known. And today, one of those things happened. I'm currently living in Germany, and very recently, I just got a part-time barista job. It's completely a part-time thing and just something for me to make some extra cash on the side. And I literally cannot even work more than 20 hours a week per my resident permit. And I haven't even started working yet, but there are some things about this job that have already broken me in a good way. As I'm in talks with the boss trying to get this job, I'm expecting like, okay, we'll do like an interview or something and they can see if they like me or not. And the boss emails me about like, they don't do like an interview, they do like a tryout day, and they're telling me like come in for the tryout day and see if you like it and if you fit in with the environment well. And when I went in for the tryout day and like all went really well and stuff, the boss asked me at the end, so like if you feel good about this job, like if you like it, if it suits you well and you think you might want to stay here, then just like write me an email and let me know by like Tuesday or whatever. And they're not saying anything about like whether they even like me or not. Like all the focus seems to be on whether like I like the job and I want to stay there. Like I ended up having to ask like, well, do you like me? Like my German isn't so good. So like, is it okay or is it like a problem? Like, how do you feel like I fit in with the environment? And only then did I hear from the boss like that, yeah, they liked me too. And then as we're going through the hiring process, like the first thing that they tell me is like, okay, the paperwork should be ready to sign in like 2 weeks. First things first, I need a little bit of information from you. And the first thing she asked me was, when do you want to take your vacation days this year? Literally the first thing that they asked me. Guess how many vacation days I get for a part-time 20-hour-a-week barista job? I am allotted 36 vacation days, or 6 weeks in a 6-day work week schedule. 6 weeks. But the thing that broke me today was an email from my boss telling me that not only is it possible for me to go on the public healthcare system, but it's literally required for me to. For context, this has never been possible for me before, and since I turned 25 and moved outside of the United States, I've only been able to have essentially travel insurance. And now through the German public healthcare system, I can pay into it and then see pretty much any doctor that I want to, as long as they have an available appointment for free or pretty much free. And the amount that you pay into it is like 100 euros a month. I haven't been to a dentist in like 10 years, and I know that partially that's definitely my fault, but I literally through like the public health insurance, it's like required for you to go like twice a year. I was like kind of freaking out when I first got the email, and I was like texting my German friends so that they could like help me understand better, and because like I translated it, but I was like, I don't want this to be like a false translation or something and me get my hopes up for no reason. And they were like, congratulations, like, but I was like really overwhelmed by it, and they were like, I don't understand what the big deal is. Like, yeah, of course, anyone in Germany who makes more than like 600 euros a month, they automatically can go on the public health insurance. And they're asking me like, what, you didn't know that? And I'm like, no, I didn't know that. Of course I could have like researched that, but like the thing is when you're socialized like as an American, like why would I have even expected that or thought to research something like that? We don't even have a public healthcare system like this. And a 20-hour-a-week barista gig would never give you social safety nets from it. Like, why would I have expected that? People who are not American will never understand that Americans systemically is so harsh and unforgiving and just cruel that it socializes you. If you're poor, if you're not wealthy, then it socializes you into having just an overall pessimistic mindset or having expectations that everything will be so difficult and or impossible that you should set your standards super, super, super low, like in hell, so that you can be easier to exploit. Why would I have ever thought to look something like that up? I'm used to a part-time job giving you nothing. I'm used to public healthcare not even really existing. I'm used to literally everyone I love around me being like constantly in this state of like nervous system dysregulation because they're constantly in fear that if they have 2-3 bad months, then they're literally on the street. I'm used to seeing women in abusive situations not be able to leave their husband because they will lose their healthcare or it will be too financially crippling for them and they are terrified of being homeless. I'm used to people working 2 to 3 jobs and still being so scared of not being able to make ends meet for their family. I'm used to things being impossibly expensive. I'm used to things being intentionally made to be as difficult as possible to deter people from obtaining them. I'm used to things being unforgiving and uncaring and unhuman. Like, I can't believe how easy it was for me to obtain the essential care that every human being needs and deserves just by serving a little bit of coffee. Like, of course, you can read and research about other countries, like, as much as possible, but there's some things that you don't fully understand until you leave the United States. I'm so angry and full of grief that our government and our society and media and whoever else has convinced us that the way that we live is normal. I'm currently writing a Substack article talking about all of the various things that I've learned that you can't really understand until you leave the United States. And so you guys can follow me there if you are interested in more information, like in this video.
Thank you for staying tuned and thank you for always being here. Something is clearly changing in America and millions of people are feeling it in their everyday life. For many families, the biggest concern is not politics anymore. It's the economy. Grocery bills are higher, housing remains expensive, interest rates have made borrowing more difficult, and many workers are struggling to make their income stretch from one paycheck to the next. Small businesses are also feeling the pressure as operating costs rise and consumers become more cautious with their spending. For families already living on tight budgets, even a small increase in everyday expenses can make a major difference. But does this mean America is about to collapse? Now, millions of Americans are now complaining and are not lending their voice that this economy is not what they really bargained for. Not necessarily, the US economy remains one of the largest and most powerful in the world. However, the frustration among ordinary Americans is real, and ignoring it could create serious political and social consequences. People are not simply asking for promises anymore. They are asking for affordability in housing, stable job, manageable prices, and an economy that works for ordinary family. The real question is whether American leaders can respond before economic frustration turn into something much bigger, because a lot of American citizens are now getting more frustrated and are now lending out their voice. Some even say, why does everything feel like a luxury now? Because their economy is not working the way they think it will work. If you enjoyed this commentary, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more powerful discussion about America, the economy, and the global affair. Now tell us in the comment section as well, is America's biggest economic problem inflation, housing, wages, or something else? Drop your thoughts in the comment section and I will respond respectfully. Thank you. See you in the next one.